remember, I grew up in North St. Paul. My parents were, my dad was a driver for Metro Transit. My mother worked for Human Services with special needs adults. I was a pretty typical kid early on, just outside playing, doing what kids do. One of the memories I have a lot of is watching wrestling with my dad. I was that young age where Hulk Hogan was the hero to young boys, so I was a big Hulk Hogan fan as a kid. But when I was really young, about the age of 5 to 6, somewhere in there from my memory serves, somebody that my dad knew and had over at the house several times came up to me at the playground after school when I was playing. I knew this person, I'd met them, so he wasn't a stranger. And he brought me to the house and he started giving me these toys, the Hulk Hogan action figures. And and then he asked me to take off clothing. And I was really young, so I didn't understand what was going on, but you can kind of get what happened from there. And that's really where an addiction began, was from that moment. And my addiction was food. One of the memories I have when I can really start identifying pounds to where I was at, when I was 16 at my grandfather's funeral, I remember I was over 400 pounds. And there's a picture of that with me and my brother, and you can see it. I mean, that's a 16-year-old kid that's really morbidly obese and sick. Growing up, being the big kid in school, obviously I was a target for being made fun of and bullied. It was so bad to where there were times I came home, and I remember a very specific incident. One day it was so bad, and this was the 12 to 13 year-old range, that I grabbed my dad's rifle and I loaded it and I put it to my mouth, and a dog we had at the time, a chocolate lab named Rock, just came up to me and put his head on my lap. And there was something that I put the gun down. My parents obviously did the best they could to try to get me help. They brought me to doctors, dietitians, psychologists, psychiatrists, but you gotta understand, I was eating to deal with pain, and there was nothing that I was going to get in my way of feeding that. And so there was a lot of deceit and, the kind of behavior that an addict does, because I was a full-blown addict. The years kept going. I mean, my weight got to 555 pounds. I was so obese that I couldn't walk more than a couple blocks. I couldn't even buy clothes from the local big and tall store anymore. I had to order them from a catalog. And then when I was 35 years old, when I was cleaning my garage, I had a moment and I found a picture. And that wasn't so much the size of my body in the picture, but I saw my eyes, and I looked and I saw the pain. And I went inside the house and I looked in a mirror, and for the first time in my life, I accepted responsibility for my life. And I cried for 3-4 hours. My parents didn't raise me to have a relationship with the Lord, but I always believed in God. I just had no understanding of what that was, or I just knew God created the world. That's what I knew of God. And I believed there was a God, but understanding Jesus and all that I had no knowledge of that. So I had 2 really wonderful dogs at the time. So I started out just by walking them. I couldn't walk very, very far, maybe 15 minutes, but I would take one, come back, rest up, and then I would take the other one, Shelby and Rooster. And I love those 2. And and I started eating better. Yeah, so the first couple times in the weight room, not very good. I'd get hurt, I'd come back. The key thing is I kept coming back. I didn't quit. I wouldn't quit. I see the Lord wouldn't let me quit. It's because I found something that I loved. I loved doing it, and I loved that it meant something to other people. The relationship I have with Jesus now is one of love, to understand, what being sacrificed on the cross means, how that act of love It's the most peaceful, wonderful love there is. It's the perfect love, and that's really how I phrase it to people. That love is perfect. It's always there. It's like a warm blanket, a warm blanket of comfort. But the love of the Lord is enough for a person to do anything. And I'm just a servant, and I understand that. It's not mine to keep.